It's time for another game of Counter-Strike. And by another game of Counter-Strike, I mean I did actually cast one a few minutes ago, but I may or may not upload this, so might be the first one that actually appears on my channel. And yes, it's Counter-Strike, not Dota. Crazy, I'm branching out, because my mates like to play 10-mens. 10-mens? 10 men? 10 mans? I don't actually know. It's a bit of an odd conjugation there, isn't it? But they like to do this. And I like to play, but I'm a toxic cunt, so it's better for everyone if I just talk about the game instead of get invested in it. So that's my plan for this one. And I'm really hoping that I press record. In fact, I'm going to check. Yes, I am indeed pressing record. I hope there was nothing particularly offensive on that tab screen. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, that was terrible. That was terrible. That was horribly unprofessional, but you have to understand I'm terrified of just not actually being recording and then talking to myself for like 60 minutes plus and none of that being on record. Because I've had to do that before. I've also had to delete entire VODs because they kind of got ruined near the end by some stuff happening in the background, which isn't great. But for context, actually, you know what? Let's just focus. Tees pushing long. They do find the first pick onto Geobreaker. Do I have autodirector on? I didn't have autodirector on. It just looked like I did down the bottom, which is my bad. That's why we've missed all the action of the Tees finding the triple kill and opening up the A site at the start of this round, leaving it in the hands of Krish and Masha. Well, just Masha now to try and clutch this one back. 1v4 and the first headshot's a beauty. And now let's see if any more are coming. Does get one through the box, but unfortunately through the box isn't enough, but blind as well. That's 3 for 3, but only 2 kills. 2 more to go, but it's looking promising so far. Doesn't actually have it. I could have sworn that one was a headshot, but Wazowski manages to stem the bleeding and prevent what would have been a truly sick clutch, giving the T-side the pistol round. And we'll see what happens here. They'll obviously buy up. Unfortunately, CTs can't really play the second round quite as well as the Ts can, so it'll likely be a nice clean conversion to 2-0. But I don't know if I actually got through this, so just for a little bit of context, I know all of these guys. I'm, let's say, acquaintances. Some of them I'd even go as far as to say friends with. At least on the good days, and so I wanna talk. I'm gonna just use their games as fodder for my practice, even though this isn't really my game of choice. And the CS esports, the whole thing is just completely fucked, and I wouldn't get into it even if I had the opportunity. Speaking of the opportunity, George has been given a bit of an opportunity to clutch up this round, but it's taken away from him by Matty QP. And we should point out some of the key players in this game. On one hand, on the CT side, we have the 2 standout players, I would say, are Masha Biceps and George. George, face it, level 10, absolute mechanical monster. Masha, just a relatively solid all-around player. You can rely on them in a pinch. Meanwhile, on the T side, we have Zesty, powerful AWPer, very good, strong clutch player, does all around good things and is known for a bit of flash and flare. And we also have Matty QP, an aggressive psycho who will never let an opportunity slip him by, even if the rest of his team isn't ready for it. And we will see the start of that aggression there as he peeks out the mid doors, but it's not enough. A Glock into an M4 just isn't really the matchup you want. And it does appear, though, that Wazowski has picked up a bit of an AK. And there's actually a bit of fight in this round. There's a bit of fight in this round. I think I managed to completely gloss over the second round and sort of go into this third round without really acknowledging it, and that's ruined my brain's continuity. But Zesty's continuity has also been disrupted as he's tapped down from sight by Jeremy, giving the CTs their first round. The power of having some actual guns. It's really quite remarkable. Now, Dust 2 is a map that everyone who plays Counter-Strike knows. Just let me crack open a cold bomb. Oh dear, that's spilled a bit. Whatever. Dust 2's quite a map. It's almost the most solved Counter-Strike map. But this is not a group of people who are professionals. Dust 2 isn't the favourite map of, I think, anyone in this stack. So, you know, we might see some interesting things, like a 5-man pop out of smoke onto the B site, with neither player actually standing inside the site. They give it up almost naturally. Masher finds 2 on the entry, but they chime back and push out of window, with Wazowski killing both B-site defenders and claiming an AK. And just to pick up a third, can he go even further beyond? Might get caught by this flash, not quite. Is George expecting him? No, he's not. And the spray is there. Billy finds the ace! Finds the ace, gets the 90-degree spray. What a round. From zero to hero, starts out with just a few pistols, picks up every single kill in the round and drags his team to round 5 with a victory. Hell of a play. A solid mix of aggression, and we'll see how the CTs respond. That's going to throw their economy into a bit of disarray, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Gets tagged, slowed down, and then blown up. But speaking of blown up, the hero of the last round has been taken out by the 5-7. Aggressive play from the CTs. Gets flashed in. But can they get any further? They're peeking one by one into an AWP. They have trapped him in the corner. But it doesn't matter. That's an angle where you can only peek one by one. And that's just what the AWP wants. T-side is a little bit split up, but the CTs are not really in a position to punish. They'll want to hold on to that AK on Chris, if they can. But there is a bit of a surprise waiting for them in the T-spawn. Manages to tap down one to about half HP, but that might actually be to his detriment, as they're expecting both players. Trades Geobreaker out and keeps looking for more. Push through the smoke from AQP. Told you he was an aggressive player. And that'll be the end of Chris. Now, my commentary isn't the smoothest at the moment, but I'm hoping that the audio balance is. The last one I did was, well, my mic was too loud, the game was too quiet, and I said picks up a bit too much. Whoopsie, right? Whoopsie. But it's another buy round now. My commentary hopefully will start to be a bit smoother, much like Jeremy's aim as he picks up the first one. And I said it again, I need to stop saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it until I stop saying it, just to try and get it into my head. Now, Mad's an aggressive player, he flashes himself around the corner, doesn't actually catch anyone. But thanks to Gio hiding behind the car, his head isn't showing. But now it is, and it's taken clean off right away. We'll see if they can get a little bit more ground. Maybe start to plant a hold on the A site. But they certainly won't be doing it from short, as Masher takes down Vid. And now it's just the 3Ts on long. But they weren't looking. They were focused on short, that AWPer. But George holding the gap in the smoke and is now boosted up the site. Will they be expecting it? No. Clean 2-tap onto Maddie QP, and now it's just Zesty, a site I've become very familiar with, him in the 1v3, but this time cannot even pick up one as George shuts him out the round with an AWP. So far, it's looking good for the T side. Wazowski really having quite a game right now, 12-4. We'll see if that manages to actually sustain him throughout the whole game. But now, the rifles come and you die. The double AWP setup from the CTs is finally here. And on Dust 2, we all know the AWPs are powerful. It's what I call a 3-lane map. 3 incredibly strong AWP angles, and there's the first kill. Jeremy taps one down. George finds a second as they start to push onto the B site. But they are shut out. They have taken control of mid, but the bomb is all the way back in spawn, and this is going to delay any plays they can make. George moving around mid, isn't expecting Vid, hiding in the fold, but he's traded out by Geobreaker, who's in just the right spot. Now it leaves Pre and Zesty in a 2v3, but all the CTs are on the wrong site. If they know if they get a shift on, they're going to get the site completely for free, and the CTs will have to take on the retake, which is going to make this round seem actually doable. But now the game is up. Gio's seen them through the double doors, but he has to wait for the rest of his team. But at least he can deny the better post plants. Molly comes a little bit too late, and they start to process onto the site. Gio comes out first and is taken down through the door. He finds a double, and Zesty chimes in with the third. Clean headshots all around as they hold on to the site, given freely. And wow, I'm running out of things to say already. I feel like I've used up all my vocab and I'm really reaching, even though we're only 8 rounds in. But I'll crack out that thesaurus and I'll keep on trucking as best I can, just as I hope the CTs keep on trucking in this game. It's not been an easy start for them, and they've been forced back onto the Deagles. But the Deagles are powerful. We don't yet to see that there, as Chris doesn't get Maddie, gets the 180 turnaround, but a quick headshot from Geobreaker as he's caught out in the open might give them a way to get a couple of kills out of this, at least. A lot of damage going around, but it's all on Masher. Whoopsie, I opened the console. Finds one. Not terrible, not great. All you can really expect, unfortunately. But it's fine. 2-6 is not game-ending. It's not terrible by any stretch. You can come back from this. You know, it's very easy for you know, say one person's having a run of form as Wazowski is here. We'll see if that continues, or will he just start to lose his momentum? You know, you can only play astoundingly good Counter-Strike for so long before you start to slip up. Maybe you get a bit too cocky. Maybe you get a bit too complacent. Maybe you just aren't getting the luck that you need, that you were having in those first few rounds. And speaking of luck, Masher finds Matt with a nade in his hand and then manages to step out on just the right timing to find a second before being traded. This gives the CTs a man advantage, something they've been sorely lacking throughout every round up till now, and Geobreaker is in the right position to find and shut out the T's out of this round. George slides across as Geo takes the attention and shuts down that round. And I would have switched to his POV, but I am bad. That's all I got, I'm afraid. I'm sort of trying to manipulate the auto-director and the number keys and sort of and speak. And unfortunately, doing, you know, 1.5 things, even doing one thing is a bit much for my feeble brain. But what might be too much for the CTs is this T-rush. Onto the B side, it's just Chris. George is ready to move in, but Chris only finds one before he's traded out. And Molly into the middle of the site is going to make it harder for them to move around, but George is shut out. Isn't able to try and defend the site, and they get a 4-on-4, put them into a 4-on-4 retake position. I think a lot of this is going to hinge on the play of this Tunnels player, who has a gap in the smoke to play with that they might not be aware of. Who's going to win that fight? It is going to be Masher, as Jeremy plays the window and finds Pre and a second. Can he get the last one? No, the Molly does instead. I think he's actually not found the bomb, but it's fine. He has a kit. He was just playing with them. A little bit touch and go there. Very stressful situation. Very stressful situation. Nice little Molly at the end there from the dying player. Manages to turn what was a pretty solid entry into the site, just to break it all up into a double kill that secures the round. Good play. It's smart utility. And a little bit unfortunate on Matty's part. And you know, I was saying 2-6, not something you can't come back from. Already 4-6, already looking a lot better. And I think the consensus is, as Chris gets tagged through the door, this is a bit of a T-sided map. You get a lot of control. As you can see, the T's are already out with a couple of flashes and threatening onto long. Masher's down, might actually get spammed through the smoke here. Defensive flash to try and buy a bit of space. Doesn't actually manage to do a whole lot. But the T's have a foothold now. So we'll see if they can actually pull anything off with this. It's all 4 crowded towards long, stuck into that area. Nobody's blocked off their rear yet, but we might see someone move to it. There is an AWP posted on it. Doesn't want to get too greedy here. But, ooh, nice little wallbang through the pit to take Wazowski's head clean off. The scout chimes back, but Jeremy's there to trade it out again, and there's the cutoff. There's the shutout, and that's bomb down. It's all on Zesty. He's a good player. Finds one, might even get a second, but Chris is too fast for him. Already almost drawing even, and it won't be a perfect buy from the T's. They're going to be missing little bits of utility, and this isn't top level Counter-Strike, but these guys are pretty good compared to your average. They're not astounding, they're not ESEA main, they're not pro, you know, they're not semi-pro, they're not amateur, but they're good. For regular players they're good, and that means utility matters a lot, but so does sheer balls and timings, as Wazowski's just not ready to handle the pace of Masher and Jeremy as they charge down this short. And the rest of the T side is there, but are they aware of it? The molly goes down and should do a little bit of damage, but the nade resounds and cuts Masher down to half HP. George is ready, but isn't ready to deal with the pre-fire of Pre-fire, okay. I'll try not to make that joke. As Masher has now rotated back into the mid. Are they really expecting that many? But they line up. They line up. A huge slight misstep has given the T's pretty much free access to this round. I find it unlikely that Geobreaker and Jeremy, in the positions they're in, will be able to clutch this one up. But stranger things has happened. Geobreaker's making good time through tunnels, and if one of them pushes him, well, he has the knife out, but he gets the kill anyway. Is he ready for the second one? He is, but he doesn't quite connect, and that wasn't Geobreaker, that was Jeremy. It's Geobreaker on now. Throws the fake flash, but is caught by a real one. And just the wild sprays from both players. Oh, absolutely crushing. But can Zesty find the timing? It doesn't look like Geo suspects his position. Absolutely doesn't. But he's not going to check it. He's going to get the ninja. Expected the tap. Cold as ice, this Geobreaker. What a baller play. What a gamer. I agree. What a gamer. That is a play I did not expect, and the only one that was going to keep them in that round. That was a hard position to clear, and I don't think it was an expected one. But the T's want to answer back, chime back with a 4-man play towards the long side, and Zesty wins the AWP duel. But Jeremy takes it back and gets a tag through the wall, knocking Maddie down to pretty low HP. It's not an even trade, but they have prevented them from picking up that piece of map control, and that is sometimes worth your life. It's sometimes worth it, because now they can move players away if that's what they want to do. And that is what they want to do, but it doesn't matter. Jeremy gets another tag through the wall and is brought down by a swift headshot from Wazowski, preventing the rotation off from Masher. But she's there to get the trade as Wazowski oversteps his bounds. But now has to hold. And a little bit unfortunate timing as the nade thought they had a little bit more time than they did. And is caught, nade in hand, and summarily blown up. It's all on Chris now. And it's not going to be easy. And that's a bit of lag on my end, which isn't great, but we can see what happens. He got a bit of a tag, and I think he's had enough of that one. Doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. But he's not expecting Maddie's position on the car, and he's still getting aggressive. He knows he's there now, actually taps him out. Is he expecting more? No, but he manages to turn, doesn't get taken down, but reloads and peeks out while doing so, which is a little bit of an unfortunate decision. If he'd held that reload, or just finished it and then peeked, probably another kill, maybe even two, maybe even brings the whole team down with him with the bomb. But a little bit preemptive there. And I have to say, in terms of popping off, Masher has now overtaken Wazowski in the pop-off. 17 kills, 14 rounds. Not quite as insane as 10 in 4, or whatever it was. But 17 kills, leading the team by quite a way. And we'll see if they can lead, by example, any further. Unfortunately, because of the way this map is structured, the lack of any crossing has led the T's to run straight down to the B site and get it for free. But can Vid actually clean up? Doesn't look like it. Brought down to 15 HP against the Pistol Swarm, but there's Wazowski with the double. Has the nade to clean up as well. It connects very cleanly, and Maddie's chiming in with the Scout, and the Maddie Scout is something to be feared, leaving Masha all alone with a USPS and half HP. I don't expect much out of this round, so let's think about what's the real problem that the CTs are having. I think at the moment they're just sort of losing their angels a little bit, and maybe they're giving up. They're fighting for control in the wrong areas, is sort of how it feels, as well as not playing a hard B defender. It is important. You need that. You have to play solo, yes, but you can't play from off-site, and I've seen that a few times. You've been playing sort of from almost the mid-side of B, and that you can't hold sight against the rush. We've seen that. And here is the last round of this half. And we see, as you might expect, the rifle stack at the top mid, and it finds George. Finds him, blows him up. But speaking of being blown up, Wazowski's been dropped to a third of his HP. Not ideal, but Geobreaker's in a good spot to try and get something out of this, but he just can't connect. And now 5v2. 4v2. Masha gets the first. Jeremy's in a good position, but man, this guy's on a tear. Wazowski popping heads left, right, and centre, finding the entries that this team has needed to bring success. We've been here before, back in the pistol round, and it was an impressive, if unfortunate, display then, and we'll see if she does any better this time. Finds the first, but takes a lot of damage from the molly in doing so. Flashes high, and is unfortunately taken down from the car position. But, I mean, just look at that. Leading the team by a clear margin of 10 frags. I'm hoping that some of the other CTs, now Ts, are going to step up this half. Follow Masha's example and really take the fight to the CTs this half. Take the tempo, control it, put them where you don't want to put them. But let's see how this pistol goes. It's going to be a classic by the looks of it. A rush B. Why the auto director is showing me this, I couldn't tell you. But the smoke has been expended, and it might be enough to set up the B defense. Double kill from Maddie, but the Glocks answer back and even the numbers up. It should give them a pretty free plant. The CTs aren't in position yet to run a retake, and I would say in a fight like this the Glocks have the advantage, but Chris is mispositioning a little, jumping there, giving the CTs both knowledge of his position and a bit of wiggle room to play around with it. But we'll see if anything can be made. George stealing a USP off a body and taking the fight to them. Picks up 2. Chris chiming in with the 3rd. Nice little clean play there. That's how you want to see Counter-Strike played. You take it from one angle, and then the other guy steps in, and then you step in again. You just play with your food. Don't make sure they don't know which way to look. It's beautiful Counter-Strike, and that's what we saw right there. Giving the Ts this first round of the second half. And it looks like the CTs aren't willing to take this lying down. They want to fight back. They force up Deegs and they force up a Scout. And if this round goes wrong, this is going to be damning for the rest of the game. And B-site's just gone immediately. The Scout answers back and evens up the numbers. But with the post plant, it's going to be extremely hard. It's going to take some very, very sharp shooting. And there we go, 4. This Jeremy is behind the smoke. Do they know each other? Are there? You're waiting for this to happen. He finds Matt, but then he switches to his Glock purely to add insult to injury. Geobreaker fighting with this guy. Doesn't realise he's quite as low HP, but does clean up the kill nonetheless. And this is rough. This is going to be hard for the CTs to recover from. It's going to give away another round pretty much for free, thanks to that buy-in. And we'll see if they decide to double down or make any other strange decisions. Maybe they have some clever eco strat tucked away. And the Ts are going to exploit the weakest area of this CT setup. They wanted to play towards B because both hits had been that way. But actually, The T's want to go long. They're fancying a change. But look at that. I told you Maddie was aggressive, and he's so aggressive. He's found the scout at the back, and now he's found one himself. And I need to stop saying that. My God. Because George frags him out and brings an end to the flank. As the MAC-10 pushes up, is in very good position to try and multi-carg. Though isn't given the chance, but the boost is summarily shut down as both drop. And now we're just left with a dude with a scout who I couldn't even change to him. It was that fast, that kill. That's the T side tied up. It's yeah, very close game thus far. I'll be interested to see where it goes from here. And this is going to be the first even round of the second half. Well, besides the pistol, but you know what I mean, I'm sure. Vid is going to be a little late out of spawn, which does actually leave the B site undefended, with a set of T's congregating there. We'll see if they decide to go and try and exploit the timing that they don't know exists. But no, they might be going for tunnels instead. Setting up some smokes. Is this going to be a mid to B? Looks it by the chance they're going to commit to the mid take. Molly to try and split them up doesn't really work because they're already quite split up. Meanwhile, on the B site, hiding in a smoke is an excellent strategy. Disorient the T's and kill them all. That was a strategy they went with on this site, and it seems to have worked quite well. Now it's just Geobreaker and Jeremy, and they can't even make a dent in the CT side. Clean round. Flawless, one might say, for the CTs. But this is the T-side economy, baby. You cannot stop it. They have enough money to just come straight back swinging. But they decide not to. They decide to go Tech 9s, which I think is a bit of an odd decision. They definitely had the money to play the round. Maybe they'd be a touch light on utility. But now they're going to run 5 Tech 9s into a nade and an AWP. And it's just not going to end well for them. 2 down already. Oh, Jeremy does trade it out. But now you have to face an AWP at long range. And a scout to back it up. It's not going to be easy, and they almost line up for the scout collateral. It's not going to make much headway, this T side. They're just blown away at long range. Yeah, it almost feels like the T side are actually in a worse financial situation now than they were before. It's going to be possibly a weaker buy now than the one they would have got out of last round. It's been a bit unfortunate. Geobreaker's been forced onto a Deagle. Possibly might be given the opportunity to pick up a lesser used rifle from one of his fallen comrades or an enemy. But at the moment he's merely playing that lurk position, making sure no one can wrap on his team, who have made their way into mid. And look to be about to test Wazowski. Let's see if he's up to the challenge. First contender, swinging. Now he actually takes it into his own hands, finds 2, might even find a 3rd. Oh my God, I'm saying it again. No, Chris frags out, Maddie gets the trade. Maddie follows it up with another one. Now it's Geobreaker with his Deagle. Doesn't last long. Yikes. That's all I can say about that one. After the momentum the T's had built up at the start of this half, found those first 3 rounds in a row. Now CTs have clapped straight back with 3 of their own. Once again, putting the T-side into dire economic straits. They keep buying things when they really don't need to. It's not really increasing your chance of winning this round. Because you're not doing anything with the resources you're giving yourselves. You can get away with it with rifles, but with only pistols and MAC-10s, you need to have a plan. You need to understand the angles you want to fight with. You can't just run into AWPs and rifles on lines that suit them. Like here, how are you going to fight this? How are you going to fight this with a MAC-10 and a P250? You can't, and that's why you're getting cut down. Zesty finds 2. Possibly about to pick up a 3rd. Basher stuck in the pit all alone with just the Deagle and the bomb. So they push. Apparently pushing is a terrible decision. Got to stay back. Apparently that's how you fight with a P250. Down long, you just dome them. But that's not an easy thing to do. And it feels like the T-side is a little bit aimless. It feels like they're lacking direction and focus in these rounds, and they need to find it if they want to have a chance of evening this game up. And there is absolutely that potential. These are not bad players. These are even teams for the most part. But it's getting harder and harder for them to actually break in to any of these choke points on Dust 2. And that's something that I find, personally, I don't like it about the map. Because if you do get stuck in this, it's hard to have an innovative or clever solution to it. You can't, it's hard to change up your tempo, but that's just what they're doing as they go for a short execute. Now they have to test Zesty, someone who has been delivering time after time so far. Pre trying to chime in from long, but doesn't quite have the angle. Still going to make Chris think twice about moving, as he does actually get George in the end, and Zesty's still here, still untested, still on this position, gets a third. Can he get the rest? Yes, he can. Finds the quad kill. And that's the problem, you see. That T-side looked good at the start. It looked like a good idea. You had your players coming out short, and they just get stuck there, because you don't have a molly for that AWP position. You don't have a flash. You don't have a defensive smoke. You gotta have an idea as to how you want to approach these bits of angles, or have a play in mind. Nobody dropped to try and contest that area or fight him from two angles at once. It's flat play from this T-side, and I want to see better, and I know they're capable of it, and I'm still hoping we can find it. But they're bought into this round. They only have a single flash, which means they have to make a clever play. They have to do something with just one flash, and they have to do something as 5, and they have to win the round off of it. Because the CT side, this game, is not giving anything up for free. They are not mispositioning. They're not finding themselves isolated and punished. And there goes the flash. Used to achieve nothing this round. Nothing at all. And it's a flash that was thrown frivolously. And that has been the story of this T-side. Frivolous, unfocused, careless. And so the CT side just needs to apply a little bit of rigor to completely shut you out of these rounds. And that's what we've been seeing. Jeremy left in a 1v4. Has a chance to find one, and will. Can he collect a second head? Pick up another scalp for the collection. Has to retrieve the bomb and is getting pushed from both directions. Reload should give them their cue to go. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have the calm, cool, collected mindset you'd need. You see him shuffling back and forth as he's spraying. I think the panic is starting to set in, as the T-side really feel backed into a corner and lacking in options. Which is a smashing hot chocolate, I have to say. And, you know, his Steam overlay crashed, so he's sending those messages to me. Unfortunately, he doesn't realise that that's going to get recorded as well, but you know what? Yikes. Yikes. I don't know what to say about that. I forgot to turn on auto director. That's what I'll say. Gave me a pretty nice view though of that rush. It was see, they're feeling desperate. They're feeling desperate, and it shows. They just run into a molly. They get completely cut down, and they don't know what to do. They're now penned in. Can you please take me somewhere? Thank you. The auto director has not been doing me any favors this game. I can tell you that much for free. I don't know why it's watching this guy when all the action's happening mid. But I think we know where this round is going, I'm afraid. Not merely because I just got message signifying that they're free and I will enter message, and so the game's over, but, you know. It's a bit unfortunate. Okay, I'm just going to do this myself because they're not showing me anything. As Masha, stuck in a 1v2, being fought from both angles, finds the one as he jumps, but it's not enough. This final defuse, even a team kill for the extra BM. Unfortunate 16-9.